And it was the day before Christmas Eve. I was 17. I didn't even have like a pillow at first. Like, I wasn't anticipating laying on the floor in my house for 3 days straight. My mom and I were like, oh, it'll probably pass. But Christina was like, no, you need to go to the hospital right now. You literally look like you are dying. And I was like, I don't want to go to the hospital. This is so embarrassing. I don't want to go to the hospital. But Christina was like, no, you need to go to the hospital. My mom was like, yeah, you don't look very good. I thought I would pass, but it's not. And I was like, okay. So Nick and Christina and my mom and I, we drove to the hospital. And I remember it was like later at night. It was probably like 9 o'clock. I got to the hospital and I just remember Nick picking me up and like literally carrying me into the ER because I couldn't walk. I was like, I can't walk that far.
I had to learn how to be a partner with someone who has OCD. Like, I had to learn how to deal with that. And there's certain things that you can say or do that will make it worse, even though you have good intentions. And same thing with depression. And like, it was a whole new world that I had to understand. I remember that I actually texted my brother-in-law because he is married to my sister who has chronic depression. And I was like, hey, like, Emin is depressed and I don't know what to do. I've never dealt with this before in my life, but I know that you have with Christina, and I was just wondering if you had any advice. And I remember he just kind of told me, like, you have to understand that you can't do anything about it and it's not your fault, and it's really, really hard to watch someone in that state, but all you can kind of do is just try and help them along and do the best that they can and getting to therapy and creating good daily habits and stuff like that.
When my blood pressure jumped up, that's one of the signs of preeclampsia, and they were like, oh, this is really dangerous. It can be something dangerous, so let's keep an eye on this. So they sent me home that night. My brother-in-law, Christina, my sister's husband, Nick, came over and he took my blood pressure because he's an EMT, so he had like a blood pressure cuff. And it had gone up again a little bit. And then he left me his cuff, and the next morning my husband took my blood pressure and it had jumped up again. So at that point I was 36 weeks and I think I was 36 weeks and 3 days. That was Friday, September 9th. And I called my doctor and I let her know, and she said, okay, you need to go to the hospital immediately. This is something that can be very dangerous and you don't want to mess with it if you do have preeclampsia. So you need to be induced.